Anybody can do a good thing here or say a nice thing there. But love, a man who's serious about you, is going to be a man who strives to be consistent in his actions. Not just strives, he just will be. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stefan Laboussiere, aka Stefan Speaks, back with another relationship and dating advice video. Today's video is for the women, and we're going to be talking about the 7 things a man will do if he really loves you. Before we begin, as always, be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, and comment below. Tell me something you feel a man will do when he really loves a woman, all right? So now, mind you, there's going to be a lot more than 7 we could point to, which is why I'm going to really look to see what you guys add to the conversation. But I pinpointed 7 that I thought was at least some important ones we need to talk about and highlight today, all right? I also want to mention this. I'm not going to sit here and say there's never been a man who did these things because he was playing games. But it's very unlikely. Most men aren't going to do the things we're going to discuss today and be about simply trying to game you and take advantage of you. It can happen. I'm not saying it's never happened, but it is unlikely. If he does these things, chances are he is really into you, he values you, he respects you, he loves you, and you should embrace that and be willing to pour back into the man. But let's get right to it. 7 things he will do if he really loves you. Number 1, he will not pressure you to do what you don't want to do. So here's the thing. I've seen a lot of relationships where a man is pressuring or guilting the woman into doing what he wants. He's using manipulation tactics. He's using anger. He's trying to incite fear into you in order to get you to back down and do what he wants. That is not the sign of a man who loves you. When a man loves you, he does not want to put you in a position that you're going to be so uncomfortable. He does not want to make you feel some kind of way or feel awkward. Now, I'm not saying that some men may not have a moment where they kind of lose sight of things, because nobody's perfect. But typically, he's going to notice that it's really bothering you and he will back off. Plain and simple. So when a guy ignores how you feel, ignores how it puts you in, again, an awkward feeling, or you're really compromising what you're comfortable doing or engaging in, then he will fall back, all right? Because that's what a man does when he loves you. He wants you to be comfortable. He wants you to be at peace. He wants to make sure that you guys are on the same page. He will be more patient with you. So even if he wants that thing, or he thinks this is something that you should be open to trying, because don't always think what he wants you to do is always some negative thing or something self-serving. It may be him trying to get you to conquer a fear or get out of your comfort zone. But even in that instance, he will be more patient with you because his love will cause him to be more patient with you. But his lust, his desire for being selfish, him looking out for himself, will ignore your feelings, will have no patience, and again, will use manipulation, fear, and whatever to get you to do what he wants. So when he loves you, he will not force you to do things you are not comfortable or are okay with. Number 2 on the list of things a man will do if he really loves you, he'll be willing to listen to you. Now again, kind of piggybacking off of number 1, when a man does not love you, when a man's not really about you and about the health of a relationship, he's going to be very dismissive. He's going to be very impatient. He is not going to be willing to sit there and listen to you. Hell, he may not even be willing to talk to you, all right? He has no time for that because in his mind, you are here for his convenience. But the man who loves you is going to embrace how you feel, is going to be willing to talk, or at least try to create better communication with you. He's going to be willing to listen to you. When I say listen, I don't just mean he's present physically, But no, mentally and emotionally, he's going to try to be in tune and hear what you're saying and understand it so that he can start to implement things to create more happiness in the relationship and with you. So when you see a man who is willing to sit and listen, this is a man who is likely serious about you. This is a man who likely does love you. At the very least, he is trying to work with you to make things better. All right. And that's the type of man you should be entertaining. That guy who dismisses and has no time to hear you out, stay away from that guy. It's pointless. And understand something. If you can't talk to your man, what's the point of having a relationship? Now, here's a caveat. You better learn how to talk to him. And when I say that, don't take that the wrong way. But listen, you got to learn how to communicate effectively, because some of you, all right, don't realize your tongue is real sharp. Don't realize the way you speaking to that man, or speaking to anyone for that matter, makes people not want to sit there and listen or engage with you, because you have a lot of negative energy coming out of you that is attacking that person, or they feel like they're being attacked. That's not the right approach. So you do have to be effective in your communication. However, I would still argue that a man who genuinely loves you is going to make an effort to listen, is going to be willing to try to get on the same page with you. And if that is not there, then again, do not entertain him. The next thing, number 3 on this list of what a man will do if he really loves you, he will push you to be your best you. Let me explain this in a way that I think you'll be able to grasp it better. I think there's this idea that when people love you, they will simply accept you as you are. All right. They will take all your flaws and they'll work with whatever you bring to the table. And I would argue that the person who does that doesn't truly at the core love you. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but think about this for a second. You love it. For those of you who have kids, or maybe you have family members, all right, that you truly love. When you see flaws, when you see things that need to be improved, you don't just tell them, oh, you're fine as you are. You push them to be better, because you want to see the best come out of them. You want them to live a higher quality of life. You want them to achieve great things. Love wants to uplift the other individual. It's the same way God calls us to be greater in our lives, because he loves us. He wants us operating at a higher level. He does not want to tolerate us operating at a lower level. Now, yes, he will embrace us, and I'm saying God, no matter where we are, flaws and all, so to speak. All right. We're never too imperfect to come to God, but that doesn't mean he wants us to stay at that level once we come to him, because he loves us too much. So when someone loves you, and more specifically in this video, when a man loves you, he wants you to be your better self. He wants you to get healing. He wants you to find that passion in your life. He wants you to look your best. He wants you to hit that next level, because that's what love does. So don't get confused or allow yourself to believe that love means accept me as I am and keep me there. All right? No. And again, if you're still having a hard time grasping this, think about you with the man you love. Do you look at a man you love and say, just stay where you're at? Don't be any better? It's okay. It's okay if you got issues. It's okay if you got an attitude problem. It's okay if you broke. Nah, you might say, I'm still going to love you even while you're broke and have an attitude problem, but I want you to be better. And I'm hoping that you're going to become better. That's the reality of it. So when a man truly loves you, he is going to not only want you to be your best you, but it's going to inspire you to be your best you. So that's a key thing here. Not just about what he does and what he says. How does it make you feel? Because when you really love him and the love is flowing both ways, you have a desire to be better for him. You have a desire to maybe look good for him as well. Not that it's all about that. I'm just saying you have an innate desire to want to step up, all right, and bring a better you, because that love inspires you to be better. So when you don't feel that, and when you have a man who just keeps you in this lower level state, so to speak, then I would have to question, is love really there? Because when it is, like I said, he wants you to be your best you. Number 4, on the list of what a man will do when he really loves you. Actually, for 1 second, real quick, just want to let you know my book, The Man God Has For You, best-selling book, 7 traits to help you determine your life partner or soulmate. And it is flying off the shelves. Women are loving it. You can check the reviews on Amazon. Click the link in the description below or in the comments section. Has thousands of reviews, and I'm telling you, women everywhere are calling this book a blessing to read. You're going to love it. Again, The Man God Has For You, which is going to break down some of the things that you need to look for in addition to what we're talking about in this video. So now again, let's get to number 4. The man who loves you will want to provide for you. Now, let me make this clear right now. We're so conditioned to when we hear the word provide, we think financial. We think it's about the dollars, all right? But when I tell you he wants to provide for you, it goes beyond dollars. It's simply about doing for you, making sure you're good, pouring into you. He wants to provide. He wants to make sure you have what you need. That's what a man who loves you is going to do. That's how he's going to behave. Every man is not at the current position in their life to do a whole lot financially, all right? And though we can talk about how if he's not stable, he shouldn't be in a relationship, granted, but some of you may have accepted that you want to be in that relationship regardless of his financial position at the moment, regardless of where he is, all right? And I would even argue, if he's broke, all right, but he really loves you, he will still, and even more so, want to find ways to compensate for that. He will want to find ways to still be an asset to you, to still take the burden off your back, to be helpful where he can. Because again, that love drives him to give, drives him to want to do for you. Listen, lust is all about taking. It's all about self-serving. It's all about getting what I can get out of this. But love is about giving. Love is about being selfless, all right? While lust and all these other things are about being selfish. So when he is selfless and when he is looking to provide for you, that is a clear sign of love. But again, do not get caught up or locked into the idea that providing has to be about money. It goes beyond that. And I would argue that there are some situations where a man will provide money and stop there. He won't do anything else. And so again, if he's simply scapegoating his money, so to speak, and saying, well, I do for you, I give you this amount of money, but if he does nothing else, how is that love? Because again, love will go beyond that. The man who loves you will want to make sure you're good. Period. End of discussion. Anything less than that, then I'm going to say he's not it. He's not the one. He's not serious. He does not love you. Number 5, the next thing he will do if he loves you is he will show you off. Now, this might be a sensitive topic for some of y'all, and there might even be some men watching this like, wait a minute, what do you mean show her off? Listen, here's what I simply mean. When a man truly loves a woman, he's proud to have that woman. All right. He's happy to have that woman. And he, even if it's not show her off, like posting you everywhere and all this kind of stuff, he's going to want to bring you to his family. He's going to want his close friends to meet you at the very least. Because again, some people are not about that social media life. All right. And I do not think that social media is a measure of someone's love for you. So don't get that mixed up. But if he can even introduce you to family and friends, we got a problem. Now, yes, I know there are some men who will do that and they're still playing games. Again, I told you there are exceptions to every rule. So this isn't 100% gonna be, oh, he automatically loves you and is serious. But I can say this, you can't convince me that he truly loves you and he refuses to introduce you to his family. He refuses to bring you around his friends. The only possible argument is if he thinks he has such a toxic family or environment, he doesn't want to expose you to that. But that typically is not the case. There's at least somebody or some people that he's going to want you to meet when he's serious about you and truly loves you. So yes, there, to a certain extent, the man who loves you will show you off. But again, don't start rushing to your man talking about why I ain't got 10 pictures posted of me on social media. Listen, we're not doing that, all right? But at the very least, He should be showing you to friends and family. That's what love makes a man want to do. Number 6 on the list of things a man will do if he loves you. He'll be willing to make sacrifices for you. Again, lust is about what we're getting, about being selfish. Love is about giving. It's about being selfless. And so in that love, there's going to be a willing to make sacrifice. Not to a point, and when I say not to a point, I don't want people to think that because you love someone, you have to sacrifice at a level to where now you are unhappy or miserable in the relationship because you're giving up so much. No, but he's going to be willing to let some things go if necessary. He's going to be willing to make some adjustments for you if necessary. The same way you're going to be willing to sacrifice for him if you truly love him, because that's what we do when we love each other. We also are going to be willing to compromise more and find ways to get on the same page and work together, because love wants to find resolution. All right? Love wants to make peace. Love wants to create harmony within the relationship. But anything outside of love does not give a damn about how you feel. Does not give a damn about harmony in the relationship. It simply cares about getting the outcome that that person desires. That's it. That's all they're focused on. But when they love you, they're going to be willing to be flexible. When he loves you, he's going to be willing to evaluate some things and make some changes to keep the peace and make sure that you know he loves you, that you know he's serious about you. So pay attention to that, but I feel the need to say, don't try to test him like that. And what I mean by that is this. If a situation arises that truly calls for sacrifice, okay, fine. But don't go trying to create false situations and scenarios so you can test this man's willingness to sacrifice for you. Don't use deceit and deception to try to play this game of seeing how much he cares, because I'm telling you right now that will backfire on you. And as a grown adult or as an individual who's trying to have a healthy relationship, you don't need to be playing any kind of games. All right? So yes, he'd be willing to sacrifice, but don't go trying to create fake situations to test his level of love and willingness to sacrifice for you. And now number 7, the last one on this list, and let me just throw in there, after this one we got a bonus. All right, I got one bonus thing I got to throw in. But number 7 on the list of things a man will do if he really loves you, he will be consistent. Listen, anybody can have a good moment. Anybody can do a good thing here or say a nice thing there. But love, a man who's serious about you, is going to be a man who strives to be consistent in his actions. Not just strives, he just will be. He just will seriously, genuinely be consistent in showing you good, healthy behavior. So all these things we mentioned, being willing to listen to you and sacrifice and pulling out the best in you and provide for you, it won't be a momentary thing. It will be a consistent thing. And when you don't see that consistency, then yes, there's a reason to question if this man truly loves you. There's a reason to question if you can continue a relationship or even have one with this man. But again, he will be consistent. But as always, my spirit is hitting me right now, so I feel the need to say this. He will be consistent, but you need to show appreciation. Listen, here's the thing about men. If we don't feel like something is being appreciated or that it's quote unquote working, meaning is it producing a good positive result? If we don't see that happening, then it's very possible that we will stop doing it. Not because we're unwilling to, but because we don't think it has any effect. We don't think it has any impact. So let me give you a very simple example. If a man gets you flowers, all right, let's say every month he buys you flowers, and you don't seem to have much of a reaction to it. Maybe there's a simple thank you here and there, but it doesn't seem like much. It's very likely that at some point he will stop buying the flowers. Now, what I've learned, and I know from many women, is sometimes you guys aren't always fully expressing how something is important to you or how much you do value it. And there's various reasons why that's happening. We'll talk about that in a different video. But the point is, your lack of expression and your lack of showing appreciation communicates to him, this is not valued by you. Why should I continue? So then he stops. But sometimes the woman gets mad at the man and thinks he's playing games or he's not serious because he stopped. But you got to ask yourself, did I show him I appreciated it? Did I tell him it was important to me? Did I convey the fact that I value these actions? If you have, bravo, you've done your job. But if you haven't, I would encourage you to make that change. I would encourage you to remember, always show appreciation for the things that you do enjoy. Always show appreciation for those things that he's being consistent with. And don't fall into the toxic mindset, what I feel is a toxic mindset of saying to yourself, well, he's supposed to do that. Well, that's his job. You know, why I got to give him any kind of praise for it? Listen, any good deed someone does is a choice they're making. Always appreciate the choice that they made to do right by you. All right? Because people can choose to do wrong. They can choose to neglect. So when they're choosing to be consistent in good action, do not fall into the entitlement mindset of, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Always stick to the appreciation mindset of showing thanks and praise and love for that person pouring into you in that way. So again, he will be consistent when he really loves you, but you must show appreciation for his actions. And so I told you guys I would have one more bonus thing that a man will do if he loves you. And the caveat here is if he is a believer, all right? And that bonus thing is the man who loves you will pray for you. Plain and simple. I don't know any man who's a believer who isn't madly in love with his woman that doesn't pray for his woman. Praying is one of the most loving things you can do for someone. And a man who cares about you like that is going to pray, is going to go to God about you, is going to pray for your best, for you to get what you deserve in life, and pray for your happiness and pray for your peace and all these wonderful things. Now, granted, you may not always see that he does pray for you, but I just want to throw that out there because I feel like it needs to be highlighted. And I also feel like any man watching this should know, if you love her, pray for her. If you care about her, be willing to go to God about her. Be willing to not only protect her mind, her body, but her spirit as well. That's what real love is all about. All right. So once again, be sure to get your copy of The Man God Has For You. Click the link below in the description, in the comments section. As always, subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, comment below. Tell me something that you feel that wasn't on this list that a man will do when he really loves you. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. We got to be able to sit down and talk. We got to be able to get everything out on the table. And you notice I stress the word everything, because many times we address a little thing here, a little thing there, but we're not getting it all out. Hey everybody, this is Stefan Labossiere, aka Stefan Speaks, and welcome back to another dating and relationship advice video. As always, be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, and comment below. When do you think it's time to let go? So that's what we're talking about today. How to know it's time to let go. The reality is that this is a struggle for a lot of people. There are a lot of people in relationships right now who don't belong there, who never belonged there. All right. And that might be you. And the reality is that we become very attached to individuals. And when we've invested all this time and energy, it becomes a struggle to walk away. And the time to have let go may have been a long time ago. All right. But I understand it's not always that simple. It's easier said than done. But I want you to have more clarity on when you know it is time for you. When you can walk away guilt-free without second guessing if you did it too soon, if you should have tried harder. I want to help you understand when you're moving in the right direction in regards to walking away and letting go. So number one reason is, or number one sign that it's time to let go is when a relationship consistently drains you instead of energizes you. Here's the reality. Relationships are not supposed to be stressful, energy draining, life depleting situations. All right. There's supposed to be a dynamic that brings two people together, that creates a stronger unit, that pours love and positivity into each other, that supports each other, that allows us to battle and deal with life better because we have that person that we can lean on by our side. And so when you are in a relationship that is constantly draining and taking from you and depleting you, then it's time to let go. Now, granted, again, I don't want you to just say, well, the minute I feel this way, let me walk away. No, we'll get into how you should approach it. But the reality is that first recognize, is that the case with you? Is that what's going on? Because if it is, why have you still been there? If it is, why is it even happening? Are the issues correctable? Or is it just a symptom of you being with the wrong individual? You got to see when this is a real problem in your relationship. And if it is, then this is a huge sign that it's time to let go. But again, what we do always is address it. We see if we can make adjustments and changes. We see if this draining, this stress, this unhealthiness is due to miscommunication, is due to simply not being on the same page. Sometimes simply talking about things could have easily fixed the problem. And a lot of people don't properly communicate with their partners and attempt to get to the root of the matter. All right. A lot of people are expecting their partner to figure it out, to know this is what you should be doing. Why should I even have to tell you? But you do have to tell them. You do have to express yourself fully so that they're clear on what it is that you need, so that they're clear on what the issue is, because some people don't even realize that you are feeling depleted while they're feeling fine. They could be like, man, I thought everything was good. I'm fine. I'm okay. You seemed okay. You said you're all right. But the whole time you're feeling destroyed by this relationship. You've got to communicate those things. But again, if it cannot be corrected, after you see that it is taking and depleting you, then yes, that is a sign it is time to let go. Number two sign it's time to let go. When the issues that have been addressed are not being corrected. So again, here's the key. You have to address the issue first. I will never condone or encourage anyone to simply walk away from a relationship when they've done no addressing of the issues. We got to be able to sit down and talk. We got to be able to get everything out on the table. And you notice I stress the word everything, because many times we address a little thing here, a little thing there, but we're not getting it all out. Maybe it's the fear of they won't be receptive to it. Maybe it's, well, in the past, this conversation hasn't gone well. And I completely understand that, but you cannot allow that to be a scapegoat as to why you're not going to now talk about these things. Because if you're not going to talk about it, how can you continue to have a relationship with them? If we can't talk to each other, we shouldn't be together. Plain and simple. So you've got to be able to get it out. Now, if verbal communication has not worked, and that's very common, that's very typical, then I suggest doing it via a letter. It can be very hard to have healthy, productive conversations verbally because people can get defensive, people deflect. Sometimes you don't realize your tone and the energy that you're bringing to that conversation, so they're feeling attacked and they will get into defense mode. Therefore, the conversation goes nowhere. You guys see no progress. By putting it in a letter where you now can make sure your tone is appropriate, where you can make sure you get everything off your chest, and now they will have an opportunity to truly process what's being said, not listen or read to rebuttal, but read to understand first, and then they can respond. This increases the chances of productive communication. This increases the chances of you two being able to get on the same page and fully addressing things. And it also increases the chances of you clearly seeing if this person is willing to work with you on the issues. So consider doing it via a letter. But the bottom line is, once it has been addressed, if the behaviors are not being corrected, it's time to go. Or even worse, they're not even trying to make it work. Like it's one thing if you have a conversation and someone says, okay, I hear you out, I'm going to try. And then over time, you're noticing nothing's getting better, nothing's improving, and we have to come to the unfortunate conclusion that we got to let this go. But for some of you, you're bringing it to their attention, you're clearly communicating, and all they're doing is dismissing you. All they're doing is making excuses. They're not even willing to work on the issue. If they're not willing, then what kind of relationship can we have? It's dead at that point. It's going nowhere. So at that point, if we attempt to continue to stay in this relationship, we are enabling their bad behavior. We are saying to them that your unwillingness is acceptable, but it's not. You're not happy. It's only going to make things worse. And you're never going to see anything change because they see no consequence to their actions or their lack of actions. So once you recognize that they're not even willing to work with you, that is indeed a sign it is time to let go. Number 3, when you come to the realization that you're not in love with them. Now listen, that might be a tough one for some of y'all to hear. But here's the reality. And notice I said when you come to this realization, not when you think you're falling out of love. Because a lot of times people say, well, I fell out of love, things changed. No, the love was never really there. And again, I know that might be hard for you to accept because we confuse love with so many different things. We think that we were truly in love, but we were attached. We had an unhealthy attachment to this individual. And sometimes we're so caught up in the hype, in the fantasy of who we think they are, or who we want to believe they are, that we ignore the reality of who they truly are. And when the smoke finally clears and we finally accept that reality, we realize we're not feeling it like that no more. We realize we're not in love with them. And the reality is you were never truly in love with them. You were holding on to the image you had in your head, not the reality they presented to you. But once you come to that realization, for whatever reason, then it's time to go. And the reason why is because once you have come to realize that you are not in love with this person, your ability to pour into them the way that they need is pretty much gone. And then their ability to do the same for you is pretty much out the window. And so now, what kind of relationship are we going to have if we don't feel like there is love between us? We're not going to be able to truly make this work. We can attempt to be robotic and say, okay, we're just going to stick together and just go through the motions. But what kind of relationship is that? It is very unhealthy, unfulfilling, and it has huge ramifications. Now, granted, I know for some of you might be thinking, well, we got kids. And I get it. Kids makes things much more difficult. But I tell you right now, the idea that we stay together for the kids is misguided because what hurts the kids more than anything is an unhealthy household. So many people who are adults right now were once children growing up in toxic households. Yes, we would love to see more 2-parent households, but the goal is 2-parent healthy households. If it's going to be toxic, if it's going to be unhappy, if it's going to give it a negative example of relationships and love, then it's going to do more damage to the children. Now, again, this is a very sensitive topic, and I know it won't be easy for everyone to understand and grasp this, but I'm telling you right now, as someone who has sat down with tons of people, because remember, I am an actual coach. I sit down, I've counseled tons of people. I've counseled tons of children or younger kids. And I'm telling you what I have seen firsthand, and I'm willing to bet any money. If you sat down and spoke to other therapists, counselors, the more damaging impact is the unhealthy, negative household. less than the actual separation. And more so than anything, what's really causing damage outside of the unhealthy household dynamic from the separation itself is the confusion of it. The kids are like, yo, one minute y'all told us you loved each other, and now you're saying you're getting a divorce. Now, I tried to leave divorce out of this, but it came out, so let's talk about it real quick. I understand that when I say it's time to let go and we're talking about divorce, these things can get a little more difficult. And I have a much more specific answer for those who are going through marriage. But whether it's divorce, whether it's you're in a long-term committed relationship and you're living together with the kids, whatever it is, it's the confusion of your separation that does the most damage, because you've been, unfortunately, lying to them all these years. You've been making them think everything was okay. And now they think one day I just woke up and it went downhill. When the kids are allowed to hear or understand the truth of the matter, that this was a deteriorating situation, that maybe you guys got together too soon, that maybe you guys weren't truly best for each other, whatever it is, it may be a hard pill to swallow for them, but now they can process things in a way that allows them to still have healthy relationships going forward, and for them to not internalize the issue. Because if I'm confused as a child while you two are separating, then I may start to think, is it me? Because you're not giving me the reality of this. So now I start looking for answers. I start internalizing the situation. And now the damage starts to compound and get worse for this individual, for this child. But ultimately, listen, the goal is healthy household. And so if it's not going to be a healthy household, we can't talk to each other, we're not correcting the issues, then there's no point in continuing. So when we come to the realization that we are not in love with each other, or one has come to the realization that they are not in love and they were never really in love, then there's really nothing we can do here. It's unfortunate, it's a sad situation, but it's what happens in so many cases. And you've got to accept. Unless you really can tell me you think you can be all they need you to be despite realizing you're not in love with them, then there's no reason to continue. But again, even if you lie to yourself, and I don't say that disrespectfully, honestly, because if you try to convince yourself that you could do it, you are lying to yourself. You might keep it up for a little while, but at some point it's going to fall off. Because when you're not in love, when there's no connection there, your ability to pour into them is just not going to be sustainable. Number 4, and this is the big one to me, all right? And this is even more specific with those who are married. It's time to go when God tells you it is. Now listen, if you're not a believer, then of course this isn't going to apply to you. But for those of you who are, we have to understand that God knows better than us. We have to lean on His understanding. And a lot of times it's hard for us to evaluate letting go of a situation because our emotions are involved. Our time and energy has been given. We may have pressure from family and friends. We may have pressure from feeling like we're not getting any younger. There's so many things that can cause us to be in denial of the fact that we need to let go and walk away from this relationship. But the one thing, the one person, the one entity, however you want to describe it, that will see past all that and can guide you correctly is God. Your friends and family cannot give you proper guidance all the time. Your pastor, me, even though I'm giving you this information, I'm not God. I don't trump His guidance. I'm just giving you something to consider, but I still want you to go to God in prayer and ask Him, is it time to leave? The reality is that many of you have already been told it is, but you struggle. And now you need to talk to God more about how to get to a place that you can embrace the strength you do have within you to do what's best. For many of you, that's going to start with healing. Not just healing from that specific relationship, but from past relationships. Not just romantic ones, your father, your mothers, your cousins, your siblings, whoever. Anyone who's hurt you. Because all of that trauma, all of that hurt and disappointment contributes to your struggle to walk away from something that isn't best from you. To be able to now do what needs to be done. But again, you've got to talk to God. You got to get in tune with your spirit. And when he says it's time to go, it's time to go. Now, when we're talking about divorce, I know people say God hates divorce. He does. But do you think he approves of miserable relationships? Do you think he approves of toxic marriages? He does not. So if we're going to not correct the issue, then do you think he simply wants you to stay there? Now, listen, again, don't just take that as, oh, that must mean God wants me to leave and get a divorce. No, you have to talk to God. You have to allow him to guide you, but don't assume you know what God wants you to do. There are some situations where, yes, he may not tell you to simply get a divorce, but the actions or the steps that he will give you may lead to you being released from that marriage. It may be your partner who pulls the trigger and you go with that because that will be your freedom. That will be your pass to get out. Well, whatever it is, you got to let God tell you how to handle it. Too many times we go to other individuals who, yes, may have good intention, but they lack wisdom. They lack an understanding of what's going on. And the unfortunate reality is that some of you have simply gotten with the wrong person. And yes, married the wrong person for the wrong reasons. And there's nothing you can do to make it work in your specific situation. But that's why you've got to accept what God wants you to do. But let me tell you this, even if you are married and contemplating divorce, all right? And even if you feel God wants you to walk away from this, he don't want you walking away acting a fool. What I mean by that is, I see so many people think, well, I'm on my way out anyway, so F it. I'm going to do whatever I want. Some people start dating and you're still technically married. Some people still ain't upholding their duties as a partner. No. That isn't how this works. You still need to put your best foot forward. There is still a proper way to go about this. You still need to make sure you are going about things in the best way, in the way that God would want you to. You can't just say God wants me to do this, but then do actions or take actions that are contradicting or contradictory to what God would tell someone to do in regards to how we're behaving specifically. But again, talk to God, put your best foot forward, all right? Some of your situations can be fixed, and for some of you, it can't. But either way, you lean on him, you consider the things that I mentioned, all right? And that's how you know it's time to go. Now, again, I know this is going to be a tough video for some of you guys who watch this. And some of you may disagree with what's been said. Leave your feedback below. Let me know what you're thinking. All right. But either way, I truly believe these are the things you need to be mindful of when you're asking yourself how to know if it's time to let go. And I pray that you are able to do what's best for you. And for those of you who it can be fixed, I pray that you guys are able to figure it out and get things together and get that communication going and get on the same page. But for those of you who simply are not where you belong, I hope and pray that you're able to walk away so that you can receive what is for you and start to live the life that you were created to live. I hope this video was helpful to you. Again, leave your comments below, like this video, share it, subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. So again, by letting him chase you or making him chase you, you run a lot of risk of pouring insecurity, negative energy into the situation. And now, number 3. Welcome to today's video. This is Stefan Laboussiere, aka Stefan Speaks, here to talk to you about life, dating advice, relationship advice, you name it, we talk about it. Your personal relationship coach. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to the video, like the video, share the video. And as always, I love to do polls. Vote below. Do you believe a man should chase a woman? All right. Yes or no? Do you believe men should chase women? If that's a good thing. So today's video is 3 reasons why you should not let him chase you. Now, I want to hear your opinion in the poll, but I'm going to explain to you why this is actually a huge mistake on your end. Now, I have a video for men on 3 reasons why they should not chase a woman from the male perspective of why it's not good for them. This video is specifically why it's not good for you. All right? Because you hear a lot of women saying, oh, you got to let the man chase you. You got to find a man who loves you more than you love him. There's videos all over YouTube about let him chase you, get him to chase you, all these things. Listen, this is a huge, huge mistake. So I'm going to lay out the 3 reasons, but I need you to listen to the very end, because after I give you the 3 reasons, I'm going to explain something very important to you as something that you need to understand about this whole letting him chase you dynamic. Very important. So listen to the end. Anyways, number 1 reason why you should not let him chase you. Because typically if he chases you, it's infatuation, not love. Here's what I have found in all my years of doing this and examining so many scenarios and so many relationships. When men are willing to chase, they are typically locked into the fantasy, the hype, the infatuation they have towards this woman. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say no man who has ever chased did not love a woman. I'm not saying that is not possible. What I am saying is that in most situations, infatuation is the true driver of that situation. And so if it's not really about genuine love, then we're already setting the wrong foundation for this relationship. Because here's the reality. Most men, and I would say this changes some as the man gets older. As a man gets older, he's been through more things. He may have been hurt before. Chasing a woman can become very hurtful. Trying to show and prove your love to someone who is making you jump through hoops, who has walls up, who is resisting your desire to express this to her or to embrace you, wanting to be with her in any kind of way, that is really going to hurt. It's going to cause a problem for that guy. And so I always say it's easier for a man to chase lust than it is to chase love. And I'm simply saying that in lust, you don't feel the pain as much. Her resistance doesn't hit down deep in your spirit the same. You're so locked into what you want, what you desire on the surface, that you see it almost as a game, a conquest. Again, you're just not as deterred because lust doesn't bring out the vulnerability. When you are loving this woman, when they are truly into you and truly desire you, and there's love that's driving them, now your resistance hurts because they're vulnerable. Consider essentially it's almost like their heart is on the outside of their chest. They're more exposed. So now any resistance, anything that goes against them trying to love you will hurt them. Whereas if they're in lust, in infatuation, they can deal with it. So what happens with a lot of women is you start to think sometimes that the guy who chases, the guy who won't quit coming after you, actually loves you. He doesn't. He's just infatuated. He's just locked into what he wants. And again, I'm not saying it's impossible that a man can love a woman in that dynamic. I'm telling you, in the vast majority of situations, that's not what's going on. It may be presented as love. Some people may fall for it and think it's love, but it's actually infatuation, obsession, other unhealthy things. And so I've seen scenarios where one guy will keep chasing who was infatuated. The other guy who was actually in love with that woman falls back. But again, he doesn't fall back because he doesn't truly want you. He doesn't fall back because he doesn't have genuine intentions for you. He falls back because he cannot take the resistance. He can't deal with the fact that he loves this woman who is not embracing him. But again, many will fall for the idea that the one who chases loves them more. That's not true. That's not true. So you do not want a man to chase you. That's an unhealthy thing. But that brings me to the number 2 reason why you don't want a man, or you don't want to let him chase you. Because then you can pour insecurity and toxic energy into that relationship. So what I mean by that is this. Once again, if the man has genuine intentions, truly loves you, and now you make him chase, you will increase the chances of that man becoming insecure with you. You will increase the chances of that man going to his feminine energy, coming off I don't want you guys to automatically think I'm saying being clingy and needy is feminine. So let me rephrase that. But he will go away from his masculine energy. That's a better way to say it right now. He will go away more from his masculine energy. That energy that you may have been attracted to initially will start to dissipate because he now feels more insecure because he's put in a position where he has to chase. And if he has to chase, that means he's not sure you even want him. He's not sure you're serious about him. He's not sure that you're not just trying to play him. So now his insecurity gets the best of him. And what I've seen in many situations is the man who chases will now lash out. All right. But he's not lashing out because he doesn't genuinely care. He's lashing out of hurt and frustration. And so now the whole situation goes left, but it was set on that path because you create this dynamic of him having to chase rather than a mutually building relationship where both parties are putting forth effort, showing desire, trying to build something amazing together, which is the key to a successful relationship. Without that, you are headed for a lot of disaster. So again, by letting him chase you or making him chase you, you run a lot of risk of pouring insecurity, negative energy into the situation. And now, number 3, when you let him or make him chase you, many times he will switch up on you. So here's the problem. Once again, remember what I said. The guy who continuously chases many times is infatuated, all right, or obsessed. And so his mindset is, I'm going to do everything it takes to get you because I want you so bad. But once I got you, now it's your turn. Now he turns the tables. Now he's not putting in the same effort. He's not showing you the great guy he showed you for X amount of months because it was never about a healthy, successful relationship. He was simply locked in on getting you. And once he got you, he thinks it's his turn to reap the benefits. If you start the relationship one-sided, where he's chasing you, he will now flip it on you to where you find yourself chasing him, where you find yourself doing more than him. Now you are burdened with carrying the relationship because he feels, well, I carried it to this point. Now it's your damn turn. You see, it's a very unhealthy, toxic dynamic. It typically does not work. Again, I will repeat. Am I saying that it's never worked out? No. There are always exceptions to the rule, but the vast majority of situations will not turn out well in your favor if you go into it with the mindset of chasing. You will risk losing the right guys. You will risk getting caught up with the wrong guys. You will risk finding yourself in situations where, again, he switches up on you. You will risk the toxic energy and the insecurity that's poured into the situation. This is not in your best interest. Always focus on mutually beneficial relationship, mutual effort, mutual building together. That is the key. But remember in the beginning, I said to you, listen to the end, because I want you to understand something very important about this chasing thing. When you make him chase you, all right, you got to ask yourself why. Why are you doing this? Because let me paint this picture real quick. Let's say there's a celebrity, and I'm just going to use a random one that I hear about a lot. Let's say Idris Elba. Now, I know he's married, so no disrespect to his situation, but let's just say he was a single man, and let's say you are someone who reveres him, who loves you some Idris Elba, right? If this man came to you, showed up at your doorstep or whatever and say, hey, I saw you. I want to be with you. I want to get to know you. Let's make this work. You're not going to make Idris Elba chase you. You're going to latch on for dear life. You're going to see this opportunity like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, thank God, I cannot let this slip out of my hands. So the reality is this: when you let a man chase you, ask yourself, are you really that interested in him? What's really going on? Because if you had true, strong desire, the reality is this: For a woman, when you really like a man, when you're really into him, you have to talk yourself out of doing too much. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself a pep talk not to do too much. You have to try to hold back because you don't want to come across too strong or whatever. So when you can sit back and let someone chase you or play a game to get him to chase you, then you have to ask yourself, how interested are you in him? How much do you really desire him? And if it's really not that strong, if you're really not into him like that, why would you even try to have a relationship with him? That's already a setup for disaster. But there's more. Because sometimes it's not a lack of interest. It's not a lack of desire. The other reason you got to ask yourself as to why you want this man to chase you is, have you healed? The reality for so many women is that you have been hurt, you have been let down, and now you have walls up. And so now your inability or your struggle to embrace the whole mutual building, the mutual effort, is a symptom of what you haven't healed from in your past. And so now your guardedness says, he must show me and prove to me first that he is worthy of me letting my wall down. But here's a news flash. When you haven't healed, he can never reach that level of worthiness. He will never be good enough in your eyes, because even when he does everything right, the minute he does anything wrong, one mistake, and you're going to be like, oh, there we go. I knew it. He's just like the rest. Like, the walls will be reactivated and you're back behind them, back to being guarded, back to validating your hurt. And that's a problem. That's a battle he can't win. You have to heal yourself. You got to make sure you're not carrying past baggage into these new situations. I would argue that if you are healed and you are truly interested and really into this man, you won't even think about trying to get him to chase you. You won't even consider that for a second, because you will be too busy trying to embrace the moment, thanking God, looking at the opportunity in front of you and running with it. You're not going to try to play no games. You're not going to try to do all these little tips and tricks. No, you're going to put in your mutual effort. So always ask yourself, why am I even trying to make a man chase me? You got to do your part. And when you do, you will get what's best for you, and you will have healthier relationships and greater success in that area. So again, listen, I hope this was helpful to you. Always remember, everything I say to you is with love and the desire to help you, not to judge you, not to make you feel bad. It's to help you see the things I believe you need to see, is to trust that what my spirit is telling me I need to say to you is being said. So again, like this video, share this video, because I know you know someone that needs to watch this and see this. And yes, leave your vote below. Do you believe men should chase? I'm hoping by the end of this video, you will have changed your mind on that, but I still want your honest, genuine initial thought. Do you think men should chase women? Do you think that's healthy? But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If she's in a relationship with you, why does she feel the need to flirt with other individuals? I would say that if she's really into you, she's not interested in flirting with other people. But if she insists on doing that, then yes, there is a reasonable question to be asked. Is this woman just playing you? Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stefan Labossiere, aka Stefan Speaks, back with another relationship advice video for men. All right. Today we're talking about the 5 signs you're dating a female player. Now, before we get into this, as always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell for those notifications, and leave your comment below. What's a sign that you feel should be included on signs you're dating a female player? Now, we hear about men being players all the time, but let's not fool ourselves. There's plenty of women playing games. There's plenty of women pimping out here, all right, and running circles around some men and using them for all they can. And so I want to shed some light, because some of you may have come across it, or you may come across this issue. Now, as always, understand, I don't want you to see a sign and just cut her off. I don't want you to see a sign and jump to a negative conclusion. I want you to address the red flag, address the issue. And then if it is not corrected or you don't feel comfortable with the answer she gave you about it, now you can proceed with letting go. All right. So let's get to some. Oh, and one more thing for the women watching this, y'all may get triggered. I'm just going to be real with you. You may get triggered hearing some of these things. Please, number one, this is for the men. But two, if you are one of these women or fall under one of these signs, don't just take it personally. One, be real with yourself. Maybe you are playing games and you don't realize it. Or maybe you just need to be real and say, okay, you know what? I have been going down that path of being a player and playing games, and I need to fix that. All right. But either way, I got to focus on the men. So let me get back to these guys. All right. So men, 5 signs you're dating a female player. Sign number 1. She has a lot of male friends who do things for her. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of women out there who have more male friends than female friends. I don't want that to be the issue because there's various reasons for that. Now, granted, that could speak to a different kind of issue going on. But as far as her being a female player, her having more male friends than women doesn't automatically mean that. The problem is when you start noticing that all these men friends are constantly doing things for her. It's very possible that she is in what I call pimp mode, all right? And she has learned how to use these men's desires for her to her advantage to get what she wants. Because as men, let's be real, we know that a lot of times when a man is a woman's friend, he may have interest. And if your girl is a good-looking woman, even a greater chance that he has interest. That isn't to say there's no real platonic male-female friendships, but we know what's up. A lot of them aren't really like that. A lot of them, that guy's just waiting for an opportunity to get her in bed or to make her his girl. So she may understand that, and she's using that to her advantage. And what adds to that sign is when you address it with her, she wants to dismiss it. Oh, you're being unreasonable. You're being insecure. But no, there's a real issue because at the end of the day, she should not be going to all these different men for her needs anyway. She should be coming to you. But again, a female player ain't worried about who she should be getting this from. She's just worried about getting it. She's worried about getting all the benefits she can from whoever she can. So when she has a lot of male friends who constantly are doing things for her, that is a sign. Sign number 2, you're dating a female player. She's very flirtatious. Now listen, a woman who's a player knows flirting is one of men's weaknesses. It's one of the ways to manipulate men. If you know how to smile and talk to a man, you can get a lot out of him, okay? And so when this woman has this constant desire to flirt, that is a concern. Again, there are some people who just like flirting, but we can make the argument that, well, you want an extra level of attention, and why? If she's in a relationship with you, why does she feel the need to flirt with other individuals? I would say that if she's really into you, she's not interested in flirting with other people. But if she insists on doing that, then yes, there is a reasonable question to be asked. Is this woman just playing you? Is this woman just using you for attention? You're just an extra piece to the puzzle of her getting attention, validation. Again, I don't want you to immediately assume the woman who flirts that she's just playing you. In some cases, I feel the need to say this, in some cases, yes, she may have had issues that contributed to why she feels the need to constantly flirt with people, but simply bring that to her attention, she'd be willing to correct it if she's really into you and serious about you. But again, like I mentioned in number 1, if you bring it up and she just dismisses you and calls you crazy, we got a problem. Sign number 3, you're dating a female player. She gets very upset when you don't give her what she wants. Women who are playing men understand that anger is a great manipulation tactic, all right? And so now those women, they're looking to get what they can get. And they're either going to ask you directly or indirectly. So she's either going to be very straightforward about paying her bills or taking her somewhere or whatever, or she's going to take a very indirect approach and try to make it very subtle. Either way, she's going to get the message across that this is what she wants and this is what is required if you expect to keep dealing with her. But again, when you don't live up to that or when you decline, she will use anger as a manipulation tactic. Listen, a woman who's really into you and loves you is not going to be quick to get mad when you're unable to give her what she wants, all right? It doesn't mean, of course, as a man, you shouldn't be pouring into your woman and things of that nature, but your woman who loves you isn't trying to just run you dry and get everything she can get out of you. She's going to be mindful of what is best for you guys as a unit and what's going to be reasonable for your budget and where you are and things of that nature. She will take that into account when she's serious about you. But the player doesn't give a damn. All she cares is, what can she get? And again, not only will she use anger to get you to give in to her, she'll also use those other male friends we talked about in number 1. She will essentially get someone else and say, oh, you see, this person gave me this, or that person gave me that, to guilt you into feeling like you better step it up because she got other options. Once again, signs of a player, and you got to take heed to that. Do not let anger push you into doing stuff or going broke for a woman, trying to impress her or trying to make sure she doesn't leave you. Do not behave in that insecure way. Again, nothing wrong with doing for your woman, but she should respect you and value you enough to not simply want to use you or put you in an uncomfortable position or in a position that's going to be not smart for you financially in order to get what she wants. Sign number 4, you're dating a female player. She's emotionally detached. So listen, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that every emotionally detached woman is being a player. I will say, though, that I want to say every player is emotionally detached. There may be some exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, female players understand they're not trying to be vulnerable. The reason why they're players, chances are, is because they've already been hurt. They've already been let down by men. So now they have this mentality of, I'm looking out for myself. And in order to manage that, they have to be detached. They can't get emotionally invested because in their mind, that's what got them in trouble before. That's how they get hurt. That's how they let their walls down. And now they lose their quote unquote power that they think they have being a player. So that woman is going to remain detached. She is going to come off like one of those dudes who can be a guy, so to speak. She's the woman who's going to be more likely to be able to sleep with you, and that's it. Sex, go home, be done. Now, again, some people may be triggered by that, but it's real. The reality is that the most women in that position have already gone through some level of heartbreak or trauma, and they've detached from their emotions because they view those emotions as the enemy. They view vulnerability as the enemy. So the female player is going to be detached. And so she's going to be less loving. She's going to be less nurturing. She's going to be less concerned about affection and all these other sweet things. She's just there to get the benefits she can get, which also allows her to more easily navigate dealing with multiple men. Because again, for a woman to be able to entertain multiple men, she can't really get invested into one of them like that. That throws everything off. So when you notice that level of emotional detachment, don't just think, oh, I got me a cool one who's not stressing me out. Nah, there might be something there, and you got to make sure she's not just there to play you. And then the last sign that you're dating a female player is she has you giving way more than you're receiving. Again, the female player's intention is to get what she can get. It's all about her. She don't give a damn about you. She don't care about your feelings. Now, if she's smart, she will try to play the role of caring a little bit, but she will always make sure she's getting way more than you. So for example, she might buy you a little nice thing for your car, but you paying her card note. All right. She might get you something at Chick-fil-A, but you paying for all kinds of groceries and other bills. Like, she's going to make sure it's a huge gap between what she does for you and what you do for her. Now, again, I do not want you to confuse this with providing for your woman, because I believe in providing for your woman, and I believe that her return or what she gives you in exchange doesn't have to match you financially, all right? She has to pour into you in the ways that you need, and you have to embrace pouring into her the ways that she needs. However, you can tell when the woman is just a selfish woman. Again, the woman who's appreciative isn't just giving little stuff here and there. She's doing for you in different ways that she can. She's making sure you're good. She's making sure she's pouring love into you. The female player ain't doing all that. She's getting what she needs or wants to get from you, and that's it. And again, she doesn't care if it leaves you broke. She doesn't care what kind of compromising position it puts you in. She doesn't care if she guilts you into it. All she cares is she gets what she wants. And please do not fall for that, because you have to understand and recognize when you're dealing with a woman who just wants to use you and is not intending to love you. All right. So those were my 5 signs that you're dating a female player. Again, be sure, leave a comment below. What's a sign you think maybe I'll miss, or maybe what's a sign you've dealt with in the past? I want to hear your feedback. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, hit that notification button, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Make no mistake that is a very important thing, and that is something that the men are looking for or want in a woman. So respect has to be there. And if for some reason you don't feel like he deserves your respect, then I will also ask you, why are you with him? Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stefan Labossiere, aka Stefan Speaks, back with another dating and relationship advice video for women. Today, we're going to be talking about what good men really want in a woman. And I stress good men. Now, before we begin, as always, subscribe to this video, like this video, share it, and comment below. What is something you think good men desire in a woman? Let me hear your feedback, but let's get into it. Now, I'm stressing good men because I know a lot of you might look at some of these things I'm going to mention and say, well, oh, men don't want this, or they act like they don't value that. And the reality is that some of you, or many of you, are so used to dealing with the wrong men, you don't understand what's actually valued by the right one. You don't understand what's actually needed from the man who wants to pour into you as well. So I'm stressing these are the qualities that good men value. Relationship-minded, serious men, what they want in a woman. All right? So let's get right to it. Number 1 is a positive attitude or positive energy. Listen, the wrong man, the man who just wants to have sex with you, he does not care about your attitude and energy, because that guy is focused on how you look, what he can get from you, how you're going to be a convenience to him. All right. So in that regard, he is not turned off by a negative attitude. He's not turned off by bad energy. He's not turned off if you come off too masculine. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. So stick around to the end of the video. But he's not deterred by that. He doesn't care about that. But a good man, a man who wants a relationship, a man who's serious-minded, is looking for a woman who brings positivity in his life. Listen, what man wants to deal with the stress of the world and then have to come home to the stress of his woman? He doesn't want that. Now, when I say the stress of his woman, I don't mean he's going to be unwilling to deal with when you are stressed and help you. I just mean that he wants a woman that can bring positivity and love into his life. Someone that can uplift him in that way. Someone that can essentially bring peace to his world. And so when you're not exuding that kind of energy, you're going to have a harder time meeting a good man, because some of you are good women, but you're not positive women. You don't exude that energy that makes a man feel like, okay, I can establish a life with her. Now, I don't want you to feel triggered by this video or insulted in any kind of way, but I want to present these facts to you in a way that's going to be helpful and to highlight where you may be looking at things the wrong way, which contributes to not getting the results that you're looking for. So this isn't just about knowing what he wants so that you can give it to him. It's also knowing about what he wants so that you can start attracting better into your life as well. Okay? So positive attitude, positive energy, that's one of the top things a good man is looking for. Second on the list, and this is in no particular order, but second on the list that a good man is looking for or really wants in a woman is physical attraction. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, looks shouldn't matter. And it's what's on the inside that counts. And yes, what's on the inside counts most, but we cannot act like what's on the outside has no contribution to the dynamic whatsoever. It's going to have an impact. We all do it. Now, some of us may be more flexible than others. Some of us may not be as picky, but physical attraction, all right, does play a role. And now, notice I said physical attraction, not necessarily looks. When we say looks, we're highlighting more so very specifics as far as people saying, okay, they got to look like this, they have to have this type of body type, so on and so forth. A good man is not as like locked into it has to be this, and that, but he does want physical attraction. And even if he has a certain type in his head, if he meets a woman that he has a connection with and there's an attraction there, he will still more than likely be willing to embrace that. But what I need for a lot of women to understand is that attraction is not love, okay? And the reason why it's important, and you can read about this more in my book, How to Get a Man to Cherish You. Don't get triggered by the title, all right? There's more to it than you realize. I got the link in the description, in the comments section. Trust me, you will understand after you read the book. But in my book, How to Get a Man to Cherish You, I break down the fact that a lot of women start to look at love and attraction as the same. For example, woman gets married, and let's say she starts to gain some weight. She's not looking the way she used to look, okay? And it's a strong deviation from what she used to look like. And now the man starts to lose attraction. And she'll say, well, he doesn't love me anymore. And I will say to that woman, no, it's not that he does not love you anymore. He's struggling with being attracted to you. And when we're talking about romantic relationships, attraction is important because a man or a good man can love you regardless of how you look, all right? Can love you, meaning that even if you weren't in a relationship with him, if he loves you, he loves you. Your looks his love is not contingent on your look. However, to desire being in a committed romantic relationship with you, now attraction is a real factor. And we can't simply dismiss it and say, well, if you love them, it wouldn't matter. It plays a role. Yes, I do believe wholeheartedly that when there is true love and true connection, we are more flexible with it. But again, it's still a part of the equation. We don't just simply dismiss it. And when attraction goes out the window, respect starts to go out the window. Affection goes out the window. Sexual pleasure goes out the window. So many things now fall to the wayside because we've now neglected the need to maintain attraction. So to get back to the original point, yes, attraction is something even good men desire. And I would argue everyone desires a level of attraction to their partner. It's not about specific looks, but it is about attraction being there. Number 3 thing that men really want in a woman, or good men really want in a woman is transparency. Now, this is a big one. I don't think women are completely grasping, all right? Because here's the thing. Men are very logical thinkers. We don't speak in code. We say what it is, that's it. And again, we're focusing on good men. So don't start with well, these dudes be saying all this, that, and the other and confusing you. Those are not good men. Those are men who are not meant to be in your life. They do not apply to what I'm talking about here. But a good man and a man who's serious about you, all right? He's looking to have transparency. He doesn't want to play this I have to figure you out game, all right? It's not that he won't love you enough to want to try to dig deeper and discover things on his own, but don't make it stressful for him. He's not looking for the woman who's going to make it this constant process of having to interpret and analyze and figure out and connect the dots on his own. That's stressful. That's exhausting. So when a woman can be transparent, when she can be forthcoming, that is welcomed, again, by the good man, by the man who's serious about you. He wants and needs and desires your transparency. He wants you to tell him what's wrong. He wants you to tell him when you desire something. He wants you to let him know what you want to eat that day. Like, some of you can't even tell him that. And that's just not really a big one, but I'm just saying, like, he wants transparency. And when you can provide that, that's definitely going to attract him to you, because for a lot of men, that's not something that they get from the average woman. It feels like a game of having to figure things out, which is why you hear men complain about how confusing women are. Because women will say, well, they're communicating, but in reality, they're communicating in a way that they feel conveys the message, but to that man, it's not coming across clearly. Because she's not really being transparent. She's speaking in a way that she feels like you should be able to figure this out and see beyond what's going on. Now, I'm not saying every woman behaves that way, but that is very common. So when you can provide transparency, trust and believe that is definitely something a good man values and desires in a woman. Number 4, the number 4 thing men really want in a woman is a willingness to listen. All right. So you heard transparency just now. We want you to be able to tell us what's going on and be forthcoming and honest. But we also want you to be willing to listen to when we have something to say to you. Now, please do not be quick to jump and think this is about just taking orders and doing as I say. No. It's simply about starting with just be willing to listen. Many times, men find themselves in situations or with women who are talking over them, who are just listening to rebuttal, who aren't actually listening. She's hearing him, all right? She hears the audible voice in her ears, but she's so busy processing and analyzing, she's not listening to him. And so a lot of men stop talking and expressing themselves to that woman because they feel like it's pointless. They're not being heard. Now, of course, it's on that man to recognize that if you cannot talk to this woman, why are you even with her? But this video is about what men really want in a woman. And so I want the women to be aware that, yes, you have to show a willingness to listen. You have to show a willingness to pause yourself, stop overthinking in that moment, and just listen to what he has to say and not overanalyze what he's saying. So, for example, quick story. There was once a person I know who went to a counselor with their husband. At the time, I wasn't available to help them out. And so the counselor had him do an exercise where she asked the husband to tell the wife how he felt. And he went on and said how he felt and expressed himself. And then she asked the wife, repeat verbatim what he just said. And they spent over the next hour without the wife being able to say exactly what the husband just said. It was a bunch of, well, I think you mean this, or what you're trying to say is that. She was essentially constantly interpreting, analyzing, and not twisting it like she's trying to manipulate the words, but she wasn't processing it just as he said it. And so a lot of women don't always realize that you're not processing it just as he said it. And again, some of this is due to the fact that you're so used to dealing with wrong men, bad men, who are being manipulative and lying, that you have to now try to figure out what the real message is and what's really going on, that now you don't know how to take a man's word who is a good man, who is trying to be honest with you and forthcoming. You think it's something else going on when it's really not. You've got to be willing to embrace what he's saying. So you've got to be willing to listen. He wants a woman who is willing to listen. When you don't show that quality, you make it very difficult for a man to embrace wanting to be serious with you in a relationship. All right, number 5 on the list of what men really want in a woman, all right, is your respect. This is a big deal. You have to understand, I'm sure some of you have heard where women value security, men value respect, all right? To be with a woman who he doesn't feel like he's respected by, it's not a desirable thing. It's not something that he's going to want to deal with for the rest of his life. Now, some men, many men have fallen into those type of relationships, and those men are miserable right now. And those men are retaliating in very unhealthy ways. It's causing all kinds of destruction. And yes, don't get me wrong. I do believe that for the men listening to this, you have to give her something to respect. You cannot simply think that she should just respect you despite doing things to the contrary, doing things that make her question you, make her not be able to give you that respect willingly. But on the flip side, as a woman, you do have to be willing to give it as well. If you're holding on to past trauma, if you're holding on to bad experiences from your past, and so your level of respect is limited because you feel like giving that makes you too vulnerable, that's a problem that's on you, not him. But one way or another, this dynamic does not work without respect. And what the man wants, what a good man wants, what good men all over the world desire is a woman who respects them, loves and respects them. And let's be real, if you don't respect them, you can't love them. So he knows without your respect, he's not going to get what he's looking for out of you. Now, some men, again, they've made the mistake and gone down the wrong path with that. But make no mistake that is a very important thing. And that is something that the men are looking for or want in a woman. So respect has to be there. And if for some reason you don't feel like he deserves your respect, then I will also ask you, why are you with him? Why are we dealing with people we don't respect? That makes no sense whatsoever. There's no point in trying to continue a relationship if we're not going to find ways to embrace respecting each other. So that needs to happen one way or another. Resolve the issues or this can't work at all. Number 6, and remember, a quick reminder again, get your copy of How to Get a Man to Cherish You. Again, I remind you, do not be triggered by the title. Just click the link in the description or in the comments section. You will understand once you read it. You will enjoy it. But let's get to number 6. Number 6 is loyalty and support. Now, I put those two things together even though you could separate them. But one way or another, men, especially good men, they are valuing, and really men, period, they're valuing loyalty and support. Now, please do not confuse support with carrying this man on your back, with building him up to become a man, someone who does not have the right foundation in his life, who does not have the work ethic or the desire to make things happen. I do not want you to get caught up in projects, okay? Because that is that is an unhealthy dynamic that's not going to be good for the long-term relationship. But yes, support, encouraging, believing in him, all right? Understanding that he has to make time for his dreams. So working with him and creating a balance that allows him to pour into the relationship and into his purpose. Because purpose is what it's really about. Like, it's not even just about career and dreams. It's about purpose. So if you're a man listening to this, you've got to lock into your purpose. And if you're a woman, you've got to make sure that you can support that purpose. If that purpose does not work for you, if it's out of alignment with what you see in your life, then don't try to force the issue in this relationship, because then you will not be able to provide him with the support that he needs. All right. So there has to be an understanding, or we have to be on the same page when it comes to that. But also loyalty is so huge. Listen, men don't want, and this may sound bad, but I'm just going to keep it real. Men don't want the woman who's for everybody. All right. Now, some of you may say, well, I've seen plenty of women who y'all think is for everybody, and she has a man. Listen, because yes, it's not the end all be all, and some men may not care, but I'm going to tell you that a lot of men, that is an important thing to them. They don't want the woman who's for everybody, and they want the woman who they feel like has their back, is going to stick with them. Because it's one thing for a man to expect you to carry him on your back and get him somewhere, versus don't abandon me when I'm having a rough moment. Don't look down on me when I'm struggling. Don't disrespect me when I'm in a moment of weakness. All right? You've got to show that, yes, I'm going to still pour that love and respect and support into you, even in a bad moment. But again, for that man, you have to show her that those are just moments. That's not going to be your continuous character. That you're not just going to be dwelling in the bottom, expecting her to always drag you out of it. No, you got to show that, yes, I'm going to be the man who does what I'm supposed to do, but we all have moments. And as a woman, I'm going to be there for you and show you that I still can pour into you what you need, even in those moments. So loyalty and support is a huge deal, and something that men, especially good men, want in a woman. And now number 7, I saved it for last because to me, it kind of sums up everything that we were talking about today. But I'm very big on this, and I think it's extremely important, and that's feminine energy. All right? Now, here's the thing. I love y'all. I love every last one of y'all watching this video. The reality is that a lot of women have become detached from their feminine energy. A lot of women don't realize that you're exuding a lot of masculine energy that is repellent to good men. Again, the men who only want to have sex with you, the men who want to use you, the men who are not serious about you, do not care about your masculine energy. If anything, women who carry or exude a lot of masculine energy, you have no problem in a lot of cases attracting good-for-nothing men who have nothing going on for themselves, who are looking to leech off of you. Because to that man, he will deal with your masculine energy because he's looking at the come up of your financial stability, of your ability to give him a place to sleep, to feed him, to give him sex. He's looking at the other things that he knows you may be willing to tolerate with him in exchange for dealing with things that really aren't desirable to the man who has his stuff together, or to the good man who's serious about you or serious about trying to find a real relationship. So you've got to be mindful of not falling into the trap of thinking this masculine energy that you're giving off isn't a real problem. It really is. And let me just tell you, beyond men, forget men for a second. It's a problem for you. Whether you realize it or not, that masculine energy that you keep holding on to, that you're exuding so much, is stress. It is emotional stress. It is wreaking havoc on you and inside of you. All right? It is wearing you down. It is not making you happy. It does not bring you peace. And it is a defense mechanism in a lot of cases because you use it as your wall up. You use it to not be too vulnerable. You use it as this method of protection. That's how you processed it. But the reality is, it's not protecting you, it's hurting you. I tell people all the time, the same walls you have up to protect you are the same walls blocking your blessings. So you don't realize how this masculine energy is actually blocking blessings, and it is deteriorating your health. Whether you realize it or not, this is real. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you, this is a real issue. So beyond just men, I want to encourage you to learn how to get in touch with your feminine energy. Now, I will make videos on that, but in the meantime, there are videos you can find on YouTube about feminine energy, and I encourage you to look at them. I don't want you to just look at my videos. I want you to simply learn and become better and live a higher quality of life. But I will provide those videos, and I have bigger plans as far as discussing feminine energy and masculine energy, because both sides need to understand the energy that's going to be more beneficial to them in the long run. And there's a lot more to it, but we won't get into all the other stuff. Bottom line is, good men, men who want relationships, they want feminine energy out of their woman. And when you're tapping into that feminine energy, that respect gets easier. That positive energy gets easier. That support and loyalty gets, all those other things we talked about, everything gets easier when you're more in tune with your feminine energy. And I'm confident you'll be able to find women who will comment on this video, who will attest to the power of the feminine energy, who will tell you how beneficial it has been for them to make the switch from masculine to feminine. And for you to make that switch, it will more than likely require healing from your past. You're gonna have to address some past traumas, some issues, some hurts you've been holding on to, because it has created that negative energy that has then poured into the masculine energy that you're exuding out there. All right. But again, there's so much we could talk about with feminine energy. I will leave it there. Again, check out How to Get a Man to Cherish You. Click the link in the comments section. Leave your comments below what maybe you think good men desire that I didn't mention, or whatever you want to say about this video, all right? I pray this video was helpful to you. I pray that you really just, if any of these things triggered you or made you feel some kind of way, pray about it, take it in, reflect on it, be willing to embrace the message, because I'm telling you, this will be helpful to you, not just with men, but for your higher quality of life. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this video. and I will see you in the next one. And so when they come across that man that they perceive, because that's the key here. It's not about whether you're actually perfect because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. We all have flaws. We all have issues. But her perception of you is so high, is so great that becomes very overwhelming to her. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stefan Labossiere, aka Stefan Speaks, here with another dating and relationship advice video. Today, I'm talking to the men. Of course, the women are welcome to listen, but to the men, we're going to be talking about this phenomenon, maybe not a phenomenon, but this common occurrence of she thinks you're too good to be true. All right. Now, before I start, as always, be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, and comment below on if you've experienced this. You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on this? Give me your feedback. Let's talk about it. So she thinks you're too good to be true. Now, I want the men to understand, listen, many of you have had situations where you really put your best foot forward. You were being the man you needed to be. You thought everything was going great, and this girl ran. She ran from the situation, she self-sabotaged, and there was a problem. Now, there can be various reasons why that happens, but some of you have either been told, or maybe you haven't been told, but it exists, where she had an occurrence where she felt like you were too good to be true. And so the reason why this happens with a lot of women is because so many have been programmed and conditioned to believe that good men don't exist, or that this amazing man, he's just not a reality. He's a dream. He's a unicorn. All right. And so when they come across that man that they perceive, because that's the key here. It's not about whether you're actually perfect because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. We all have flaws. We all have issues. But her perception of you is so high, is so great, that becomes very overwhelming to her. All right. And now she thinks to herself, this can't be real. Something must be wrong here. And she starts to try to look for things to be wrong, or create things to be wrong, even do things in the relationship or dating situation to get you to react, or to get you to show her something that will validate her negative perception. All right. And it's a very unfortunate situation to deal with. Now, real quick, let me mention, I don't want every man to assume that every woman that lets you go thought you were too good to be true. You got to be real with yourself. You know if you aren't bringing your best self to the table, and some situations are just she wasn't feeling you, you guys didn't have a connection, and that's normal, that's healthy, that's fine, it happens, all right? But in this specific dynamic that I'm talking about, yes, there are women who think to themselves, this can't be real. He's too good to be true. Now, for the men, I want you to understand that if you come across this, all right, don't get into the mindset of thinking, well, let me show you even more how good I am. And here's what I mean by that. It's not that I don't want you to still be a great man. It's not that I don't want you to put your best foot forward. It's that if you think trying to be even more perfect is going to get her to believe how good and real you are, you're absolutely wrong. If anything, it will scare her away even more. That doesn't mean be an a-hole on purpose. It doesn't mean start playing any games. It doesn't mean lash out at her or anything like that, or mistreat her. I just want you to not get caught up in the mindset of, I have to prove my worth or prove to this woman I'm as good as I have shown her that I am. If you've already been doing your part and putting your best forward, if you have already been doing your part and putting your best foot forward, then it is not for you to have to try to do more. It's for her to address the issues within herself. If she thinks you're too good to be true, and you're a genuinely good dude, then that means she either has some past trauma she hasn't healed from. She may have negative influences in her life that's telling her, girl, this can't be real. He must be playing games. He's putting up an act, whatever. All right. Or ultimately she has just gone through too much. And again, that just goes back to she has things she needs to heal from. And so when you recognize that, again, don't get into the battle of trying to prove yourself. You can encourage her to listen. I am who I am. And I'm going to consistently be this guy. But if you can't believe that and embrace that, then the choice is either you have to get help for it through therapy. And let me make this clear. When you tell somebody else to get therapy, to see a counselor, don't just make it about them. If you really view that woman as potential future in your life, a woman that you can really spend your life with, then I would encourage you to say, you know what, we can even do it at the same time or even do some sessions together. You want to be a part of her journey. Not that you're going to heal her, all right? Not that you have to drag her to the finish line to be healed, but when you show that you are an encouraging partner willing to participate in the process, that's a very loving and empowering act, all right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But you cannot get into the mindset of trying to convince her that you are as good as you are. There is an issue within her. And you have to also understand that do not lash out or get upset with the woman who thinks you're too good to be true. Because now, if you do, you play right into her hands of, oh, I knew there was something wrong with you. I knew you weren't as good as you said you were, because now you're showing her a negative side of you. Don't give her that. Don't give her any ammunition, so to speak. All right. If she is going to now act out in unhealthy ways, trying to sabotage the situation or trying to prove to herself that you're not that great, then you let her go. It is not your responsibility to have to fix this woman, all right? It is not your responsibility to have to make her believe you are a good man. Stand strong in who you are, but hold her accountable for her own issues, all right? And so again, some of you might be thinking, does this really happen? Yes, it does. I've had countless women, and let me tell you something. Again, y'all have to remember, I'm not just speaking as just some random guy. I'm speaking as a man who is a coach, who has sat down with thousands of people, who has read through thousands of emails, who has seen thousands of situations, all right? And I can tell you, plenty of women have admitted to me, have let it be known clearly that yes, they have had situations where they felt the man was too good to be true. And that it made them feel too vulnerable, too overwhelmed. It scared the crap out of them. And they didn't know what to do with themselves. And yes, unfortunately, some situations go left and she completely runs away from it. And that's why it's important for you to, again, not get into the negative behaviors I've seen so many others do with lashing out or even, and though trying to prove yourself is not a negative behavior per se, it's a behavior that doesn't actually work in your favor. All right. And so this is not a long video. This is just something that I want to put out there because there's someone, and it might be you, going through it, or you may go through it. And I want you to be aware of these things before it happens. And I want you to be calm and poised and understand. Do not internalize her struggle to believe you are the good man you are. Do not get caught up begging for her approval. And again, trying to prove to her that you are as good as you are. Just be you. Stand strong in that. Be confident in that. If she has to get some help for her issues, that is on her. You can encourage her. You can join in on the process and help yourself as well, because we all have things we can improve in our lives. But do not allow it to damage you and put you in a negative mindset or discourage you, because if she's not the one who can embrace you, then another woman will come that can't. So I hope and pray this was a helpful video to you. Again, leave your comments below, like this video, share this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. By a show of hands, how many women in here desire a feminine, passive, emotional man? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. So if you don't desire a feminine, emotional, passive man, why do you think he wants a hard, masculine woman? If you are happy with that dynamic, knock yourself out. All right? However, what I have found is women who carry masculine energy and get with a more passive feminine man, they may be okay at first, but as time goes on, you start to resent him, you start to look down on him, you don't respect him the same, you're mad because you feel like the burden is on you, he's not assertive, he doesn't handle his business, so on and so forth. The man feels like he's not respected, you don't treat him like a man, he doesn't feel valued in the relationship. Now, if you go watch these two people go cheat on each other, pay attention to who they go cheat on each other with. The woman will always go to a very masculine man, and the man will always go to a woman who makes him feel like a king. Every single time. So we have to understand that that's what we truly desire within us. Now, by a show of hands, how many women in here desire a feminine, passive, emotional man? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. So if you don't desire a feminine, emotional, passive man, why do you think he wants a hard, masculine woman? You got an answer? Anybody? Anybody? No. Okay. This is the problem. As a woman, you have to ask yourself, and I have something for the men too, but as a woman, you have to ask yourself, what kind of man do I desire, and am I exuding the energy that attracts that kind of man? And if you know you want a masculine man, that means you have to tap into your feminine energy. The problem is that women are looking at femininity as weakness. You view it as, well, I was hurt when I was feminine. I was taken advantage of when I was feminine. Listen, femininity was never your problem. Your selection process was. All right? Who you chose to entertain, who you chose to give that feminine energy to was your problem. But you don't stop being feminine. You stop entertaining the people who don't embrace and respect it. You have to learn to get back into tapping into it. Now, many women say, well, I don't know how to be feminine. I'm just not a feminine woman. That's lies. Every last one of you have femininity within you, but you may have become very detached from it. You may have become very uncomfortable, or you become conditioned to your masculine energy, so you don't know how to turn the switch on and off. And this is very common for successful women. Women working in the workplace are conditioned to thinking they have to carry this masculine energy. And then when you get into a relationship, you don't know how to turn it off, all right? And that causes a problem. Because again, the more masculine the man is, the less tolerant he will be of your masculine energy. Period. And it's the same way. A feminine woman would never be with a feminine man. It's not going to happen. Never, ever. She can't tolerate it. She can't. It's too much feminine energy going around. Like she's not going to do it. So we've got to understand that. Now, here are some things to consider. For the women who say you're not feminine, maybe you're not used to it, I challenge you in this way. Picture yourself when you're around babies and kids. How are you? Many times the woman who says she's not feminine, put her around babies and kids, and she's sweet, she's loving, she's charming, she's all this feminine energy coming out of her. Then put her around a man, shut the whole thing down. It's done. It's done. Ain't happening no more. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Huh? You know where it went? It went behind your wall because you view the men as a threat to your emotions and your heart. You view the kids as harmless beings to love, so you are completely vulnerable and open with them. When you can transfer the energy that you give to the children to men, watch your whole life change. All right? Someone said it's hard. Yeah, it's very hard. It's hard when you become so detached from it, but this is why healing is so important. Healing is directly correlated to your ability to tap into your true energy, both for men and for women. So let me pivot real quick to men, but I got some more things to say about the women. Actually, no. Let me stick with the women. I'll come to the men back in a second. So, again, picture yourself around the kids. Now, here's a couple tips for the women to improve your feminine energy. But again, this is a deeper topic, and healing is at the foundation of getting this right. But here's a couple things to consider. Number one, smile more. All right? Smiling helps you exude feminine energy. What I have found, every city that I go to, everywhere I walk, I see beautiful, amazing women mean mugging all day, every day. All right? like, and y'all call it resting bee face or whatever, and I get it. It can be hard to tap into your smiling self. However, my thing is this. If you're doing that to keep people from talking to you, cool. But you can't do that and then come to me and say, why is nobody coming to me? Why is nobody approaching me? Because you look hard, you look stank, you look too difficult, all right? So smiling more is going to help change that. Now, I'm not saying walk around 24/7 like a big old clown, smile on your face. What I am saying is, at least when you're in environments where you want to be approached, smile. You see a man you like, smile. But here's the thing I want you to always remember. When you are happy from within, smiling comes naturally. So you have to not only be able to say, I'm willing to try to be committed. No, you got to be able to say to yourself, I see myself being happily committed. Now, granted, we cannot predict the future. Things will happen. And sometimes that happy commitment turns into people being miserable or all kinds of drama going on. God forbid. But hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stefan Laboussiere, aka Stefan Speaks, back with another dating and relationship advice video. Here to tell you the 5 things you need to consider before making a relationship official. Now, before we begin, as always, be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Tell me one of the things you feel should be considered before making a relationship official. Now, listen, we could apply what I'm about to say to marriage. If it was up to me, we would be focused more on marriage rather than boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. Like, I really think that being friends and going to married is a more efficient process, but I'll have to break that down for y'all in a different video, all right? But the reality is that people get into boyfriend-girlfriend relationships. They want to make it official. They want to go through that process before getting into married. And just as you need to do your due diligence before you get married, well, you need to do your due diligence before you even make it official. Like, what's the point of getting in a serious relationship if you haven't covered your bases, if you haven't addressed things properly to make sure you can have a successful transition into a relationship with hopes of possibly now being married down the road. But what I've noticed is a lot of people just come to the decision of, I like them, I see potential, so let me get into a relationship with them. No. Stop with all that. That's not working. That is getting people into a lot of trouble because they are skipping the steps and skipping the questions and the things to consider before taking it there. So let me break down for you the 5 things you need to consider before making a relationship official. Number 1, have you discussed expectations? So here's the thing. How we behave or what we consider appropriate or what we expect while we're dating does not always tend to match up with what people are expecting in an official relationship. And where a lot of people go wrong is they assume that they continue with how they were in the dating phase in the relationship phase. And it really doesn't work like that. One quick example that comes to mind is if, and I'm not putting this on the men, but let's say as a man, she hasn't really required you to check in with her or, touch base with her on a more consistent basis because you guys are getting to know each other. And you start to believe that she's just cool like that. She's not putting any pressure. She doesn't need that she doesn't require that out of you. But lo and behold, she's only not doing it because you guys are still dating. But she is going to wholeheartedly expect that once you guys are official. So that's one example of something that has to be discussed beforehand. What is required of each other in a relationship? What is considered appropriate or inappropriate behavior once we're in a committed relationship? How do we handle certain situations? I would highly suggest sitting down and throwing out random situations, maybe situations you've experienced in the past, and say, okay, how would we handle this? Or how do we agree that this will be handled going forward? And the key is to make sure we're on the same page before we decide to make it official. Now, some people may say, well, why can't you just figure that out on the fly once you're official? Nah, that's how you get into trouble. That's how you cause problems, and things only get worse from there. It's better to cover these situations and these issues before taking that next step. So sit down and lay out from each other what you expect from your girlfriend, what you expect from your boyfriend. Make sure you guys are in agreement with that. And if you are, now you can move forward. But if you see in that stage that you're not on the same page, that there are things that you think are ridiculous or are unfair or unreasonable for that partner to require, well, guess what? You guys, not only should you not make it official, stop the dating. It's done. Ain't nothing going to work here. It's over. Move on to something better. Now, number two, to the second thing, or another thing you should consider before making a relationship official, is will you or can you be happily committed to this person? Now, you notice I said happily committed. Listen, some of y'all are trying to commit, but you're not happy. You're not at peace because for whatever reason, you either feel like you still want to live your life. You feel like maybe this person doesn't give you everything you need, so you need to seek it elsewhere. Maybe you're not truly in love with them. Whatever the case may be, if you can't see yourself happily committed, then what is the point of making it official? To become or to walk into an official relationship together is to say we are going to be committed. We only have eyes for each other, and we are no longer entertaining anyone else. Now, some people may say that should have happened in the dating phase, but listen, people date differently, and that depends on those two individuals. But what most will agree is once we agree to commit, we agree to be loyal and faithful, and that's it. So you really got to ask yourself, can I be happy with this person? And that's it. Can I be happy only allowing myself to entertain this individual? If you have any hesitation in that, it's not time to be official. And again, if it's not time to be official, it also may be time to walk away, because you got to go deeper and say, why? Why would I not be happily committed to this individual? Is it a fixable issue? Is the problem that there is a glaring conflict that we have that we've yet to resolve? And if that's the case, cool. Let's address it. Let's see if we can resolve it. But if we can't, there is no point in moving forward. So you have to not only be able to say, I'm willing to try to be committed. No, you got to be able to say to yourself, I see myself being happily committed. Now, granted, we cannot predict the future. Things will happen. And sometimes that happy commitment turns into people being miserable or all kinds of drama going on. God forbid. But that's different than when you can see in advance you're not going to be at peace here. You're not going to be able to keep your focus on this relationship and this relationship only. And if that is the case, move on and let it go. The third thing to consider before you make it official is, do you see a future with them? So listen, unfortunately, there are a lot of individuals who just want a relationship. They just want someone they can talk to, they can cuddle with. They want that companionship in their life. And even though they don't truly see a future with this individual, they're willing to just go with the flow or enjoy it for the moment, see what happens, all types of things that should or are not healthy for the long term of the relationship. And they're not healthy, especially when that individual wants more than that. But start with yourself. Do you see a future with them? If you do not, if you only see them as a temporary filler, why are we trying to make it official? Again, if you don't see a future with them, but you want companionship, now, preferably, I would rather you just leave the whole thing alone. But some people might be cool with it. Though I think there's other issues going on there, still, two grown adults may agree that they just want to enjoy each other for the moment. If you communicate that in honesty and be transparent, and they're cool with this, fine. But to enter into a committed relationship with them, when you don't really see a future with them, especially when you have not made sure that they are okay with the fact that you see no future with them, is a very unhealthy, toxic approach to take. And it's unfair and it's wrong and you should not do it. And guess what? You're not just wasting their time, you're wasting your time. Listen, I know that everyone may not aspire to be married, but the most or majority of people, or I'll say most people who are trying to have committed relationships, there's a part of them that wants to be married. If not, all of them wants to be married. Let's not be in denial of that. And let's not fool ourselves or fool them and try to play this in-between game. Again, if you want to be in between, then don't even be official. Then you guys can kick it as grown adults. I'm not condoning it. I'm not suggesting it. But if that's what you want to do, so be it. But at least you're doing it with you both being on the same page about it. But to do it when you guys are not connecting on that issue, that's a problem. Which brings me to number 4. Do you even want the same things? So listen, whatever two grown adults want to do is on them. I'm not here to tell you how you have to run your life. I'm here to give you perspective, suggest to you what I believe or what I know is healthy and the more efficient way to do things. But you as an adult have to make your own decisions just as they have to. But you have to be fair enough to them to give them honesty and allow them to make that decision for themselves. And so you have to talk to each other and find out, do we even want the same things? Because if we don't, what the hell are we doing here? What is the point if we want to go in different directions with this relationship? And neither of you should be trying to convince the other or think to yourself, well, I'll hang around here hoping I can get them to now be on board with what I want. So if you just want casual and they want something serious, don't think you can beat them into submission of wanting something casual. Same way, don't think you can convince or trick them into thinking they want something serious. It's not going to work. And even if you possibly at some point succeed, trust me, you're doing it with them going against what they really want. Therefore, it's going to create conflict within them. Therefore, it's going to create conflict within the relationship. So you're creating a very unhealthy environment regardless at that point. So there's no need to fight what they really want and to go against what you really want. If y'all not there with each other, let it go, move on. You know, as I keep saying it, let it go and move on. We got to stop holding on to relationships we don't belong in and stop dragging along situations that aren't going anywhere. And the last thing to consider before making a relationship official is, have you addressed any lingering baggage? Now, when I say baggage, this may sound bad, but I mean baggage in the sense of emotional baggage, but also anything that you may determine as baggage. So, for example, if they have issues with the child's father or child's mother, all right, could be considered baggage that needs to be resolved. If they are having conflicts or they allow their family to be a problem in the potential relationship, that's an issue that needs to be resolved. Whatever you think is lingering baggage that needs to be let go and released, it needs to be addressed. So yes, have they also healed from their past? Have they healed from their past relationships? Now, again, we live in a society that wants to say, well, everyone has issues, everyone's broken, no one's going to be perfect. And I completely understand that, yes, most of us have experienced issues, but please don't get it twisted. Not everyone at the moment has issues that are detrimental to the health of a relationship. It is one thing to have some struggles and flaws that we're still working on. But many people, and it may be you have issues of unresolved pain and hurt and disappointment that will actually impact the relationship in a very negative way. That needs to be addressed. That needs to be resolved. If you need help with that, please check out my book, Love After Heartbreak. You can click the link in the description or in the comments section, or go to loveafterheartbreak.com, which will tell you how to heal from any past hurt, relationships, family, you name it. But regardless, you cannot skip this step. If you are serious about setting yourself up for a great, amazing relationship and one that can then potentially become a healthy, amazing marriage, then you gotta do the work first. And part of that work is making sure you both healed. We talk about marriage counseling before getting married, which people should do. But guess what? You should also do couples counseling if you're going to talk about getting serious with each other. Some of y'all may say, that's crazy. We're just dating or we're just in a relationship. Well, listen, If the point is to get to a higher level for each other, why are we kicking the can down the road? Why are we going to take the chance of those old issues, that baggage, creeping into our committed relationship, wreaking havoc, and ruining the potential of something better occurring between us, ruining our ability to take it to the next level? That doesn't make sense. It would be better and more efficient to address those things as soon as possible. Now, I would love for everyone to do the work while they're single. I would love for you, if you are single now, to focus on your healing and not wait till you meet someone. But if you have already, or you've overlooked this for whatever reason, no more overlooking. No more moving past it. No more kicking the can down the road. It is time to heal, resolve the issues, and get your things in order. That baggage cannot go with you into your relationship, and you cannot expect your partner to just deal with it. You cannot take it and just dump it on them and say, well, if you love me, it's your problem too. Granted, they should be encouraging, helping you, and it's not that we won't face issues together. But when you are coming into it with baggage, it is your responsibility to correct it and address it, overall resolve it. All right. So those are the 5 things you should consider before making a relationship official. As always, leave your comments below what you think is maybe another thing to consider before making a relationship official. Be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Maybe you just felt lonely. Maybe you just wanted to have companionship in your life. Maybe family pressure. Maybe he came off really great at first and you wanted to hold on to the person he sold you. But again, your spirit saw through that. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Stefan Labossiere, aka Stefan Speaks, back with another dating and relationship advice video for women today. And we're going to be talking about he was never the right man for you. Now, before we get into this hot topic, please be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, and you know what? Just comment below amen if you agree with what I'm saying in this video. Listen, he was never the right man for you. I come across so many women who are still dwelling on or struggling with the loss of a previous relationship, who are still holding on to the pain that a previous man has caused them. And now listen, there's no judgment here. It's completely understandable that you are going through the emotions that you go through. It's completely understandable that you get triggered at times by these things because you gave so much into that man. You tried so hard to make it work, and you really wanted to see it become an amazing or great relationship. But that doesn't change the fact that he was never the right man for you. And you've got to realize that, yes, you gave time and energy not simply to relationships in general, not simply to men in general, but to that man who was the wrong man, to that man who did not show you he was worthy of being with you in a relationship, to that man who your spirit, your intuition told you he wasn't it, but you decided to push past it. Now, again, I don't want you to feel bad about that and beat yourself up, but I want you to acknowledge the fact that you knew he was not for you. The fact that you decided to look past the red flags. And it happens to so many women all day, every day. And there's various reasons why it happens. Maybe you were afraid to be alone. Maybe you felt like time is running out. I need to get me a relationship. Maybe you just felt lonely. Maybe you just wanted to have companionship in your life. Maybe family pressure. Maybe he came off really great at first and you wanted to hold on to the person he sold you. But again, your spirit saw through that. And so when you accept he was never the man for you, I want you to also accept that your spirit always knew that your intuition understood what was going on. But as a woman, you've got to get comfortable with embracing your intuition. You have to stop ignoring the blessing God gave you. It is there for a reason. And I can tell you, in all my years of doing this, I don't think I've ever come across a woman who said her intuition is wrong. Now, some people may say, well, plenty of women got their intuition wrong. No, I would argue that plenty of women got their analyzation wrong, and they may have put the label of intuition, but when you really sit them down and when you really get to the core of the matter, their intuition was never wrong. They try to convince themselves and the world around them that they belonged here, that this relationship can work, that this is the right guy, but you always knew he was never the right man for you. And if anything, thank God he's gone. Thank God that relationship did not go any further, because it was never going to make you happy. It was never going to make you a better woman. And let me mention real quick, too many of you are in relationships where you're making him better, but he does not do the same for you. Where you're pouring into him, you're uplifting him, but he's only draining you. You don't belong there. And some of y'all, it's not that he was never the right man. It's the man you're with now is not the right man. And I want you to listen to this video all the way to the end, because I want you to find the strength that you do have within you to let him go. That you have within you to do what is truly best for you. God did not put you here to be in an unhealthy relationship that does not serve you and him. He did not put you here to be miserable. He did not put you here to deal with a man who is constantly stressing you out and not pouring love, positivity, compassion into your life. That is not what you have been created for. You have a greater purpose in this world, and it's to align yourself with a man who you can share an amazing life with. Now, yes, some women may have a purpose that goes beyond just being in a relationship. I mean, we all do, but may not include being in a relationship. But before you come to the conclusion that you're meant to be single, don't come to that conclusion because you're tired, you've lost hope, and you don't think any good options are out there. If you come to that conclusion, let it only be because God told you in prayer, because you feel peace in your spirit about being single and no longer entertaining relationships. But back to the fact that he was never the right man for you. Listen, I want you to know wholeheartedly, there is a great man out there. I want you to know that you can have what you desire, but you've got to learn to stop entertaining the wrong men. You've got to learn to reject the belief or the perception that good men do not exist. You've got to learn to see past this idea that this is the best that I can do. No, if you're not happy, you could do better. If you guys don't have a connection, you could do better. If he is not making you a better woman as you make him a better man, then you can do better. Understand, he was never the right man for you. And what you need to focus on now, if that man is gone, you need to heal. If that man is here, let him go and then you heal. Either way, you need to heal. You need to make sure you resolve the pain and disappointment that's been lingering in your life, because the reality is this. The fact that you were even with the wrong man, the fact that you ignored your intuition, was because there is something that has hurt you in your past that you have not resolved. It may be in your childhood, involving your father, your mother, your siblings, whoever. It may be past romantic relationships. But one way or another, there was brokenness that occurred. And whenever I say the word broken, I do not want you to take offense to that. I want you to simply look at it for what it is. We have all taken hits in life. We have all been cracked, bruised, and sometimes, yes, broken, but we all have the ability to heal from it. And so now here is your opportunity to heal for you, for your kids if you have any, and for the sake of your future relationship, because it is in your healing, in you finding your true self again, in you allowing your positive feminine energy to flow out of you, that you're going to get what you've been waiting and hoping and praying for all this time. And you deserve it, and you can receive it. But again, he was never the man for you. Let him go. Understand, you know what? We must learn from those situations. We don't dwell on them. We don't project his shortcomings onto the next man, because the next man may be that great man who wants to love you and pour into you. But it is not fair for him to have to deal with the damage the other man did. It is not fair for him to take on the burden of the issues that you are still holding on to. You cannot have the mentality that the man loves me enough, he will help heal me. No, he can't heal you, only you can. You've got to do the work. You got to put it on yourself. You got to take responsibility in your life. You got to come to him at your better self, not your lower level self, expecting him to fix it up. Don't put that on him. The same way he should not put it on you. You are not here to fix him. He is not here to fix you. You are here to come together as two whole individuals who have found yourselves, who are healed, and who are ready to have an amazing, loving relationship. So again, he was never the right man for you. Let it go. Let's focus on healing. Let's set yourself up for something greater that's going to come your way, and trust and believe God wants you to have the best. So I hope this video was helpful to you. It was just a message that was on my spirit that I felt I needed to share. We'll definitely go deeper into some of the things I touched on in this video in different videos. But again, be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share it, because I know you know someone. If this didn't apply to you, you know someone it applies to. They need to hear it. Share with your friends, share with your family. And again, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.